Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of English Over Tea, Listen and Speak. I'm your host, Anna, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Dan. How are you today, Dan? I see you've got a very large mug with you.
Oh, hey Anna. I'm doing great. And yes, I really needed this cup of joe today. It's been a busy morning.
Wait, Dan, hold on. You just used a great expression, a cup of joe. For our listeners who are just starting out, could you explain what that means?
Oh, of course. I sometimes forget I'm using these idioms. A cup of joe is just a very casual, friendly way to say a cup of coffee. I've also heard people call it a cup of java, or if you're in the UK, you might just hear someone ask for a cuppa, which can be tea or coffee.
I love that. A cuppa. Very cozy. Well, today we are talking about something very close to my heart, hobbies and personal interests. It's one of those topics that comes up almost immediately when you meet someone new, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Practicing English to talk about your hobbies and interests helps you communicate your passions and connect with others who share similar interests, leading to meaningful conversations and new friendships. It's the ultimate icebreaker. If you want to get to know someone, you don't ask them about their tax returns. You ask them what they do for fun.
Exactly. And while we talk, you'll learn some really useful English words and phrases. So stay with us, and if you enjoy learning with us, please subscribe to English Over Tea. Yes, click that subscribe button and give this episode a like. It really helps us reach more learners like you. But you know, Dan, even though it's a common topic, sometimes it's hard for learners to move past the basic, I like football or I like movies. We want to help our listeners sound more natural, more like themselves.
Right, because in a real conversation, people use idioms and phrasal verbs. They don't always sound like a textbook. Speaking of which, I have to tell you about my latest hobby disaster.
Oh no, here we go. What did you try this time?
Well, I decided I wanted to be more creative, so I decided to take up pottery.
Take up. That's another good one.
Yes, to take up a hobby simply means to start doing it. Anyway, I went to this class, right? And I thought, how hard can it be? It's just mud and a spinning wheel. Anna, it was a catastrophe. I tried to make a simple bowl, but the wheel was spinning so fast that the clay it flew off the wheel and hit the instructor right in the chest.
No, did you really?
I wish I was joking. The whole class went silent. I just stood there with mud on my face, literally. I guess I'm still a beginner.
Well, as they say, practice makes perfect. But maybe pottery isn't your passion. A passion is something you really, really love and feel very excited about.
Yeah, I think I'll stick to my usual hobbies for now, but it's a good lesson for our listeners. It's okay to be a beginner. A beginner is just someone who is starting to learn something new. You don't have to be perfect on day one.
That is so true. So let's look at how we actually start these conversations. Dan, if you were meeting someone at a party, how would you ask them about their free time?
Well, the most basic way is, what are your hobbies? But sometimes that feels a bit like a school interview. In a more natural setting, I might say, what do you do for fun? Or maybe, how do you spend your free time?
Those are great. I also like asking, what are you into?
Oh, to be into something. That's a very common one. It just means you're very interested in it. For example, I'm really into photography.
Exactly. It sounds much more conversational than saying, my hobby is photography. And you know, we can even add adjectives to make it stronger, like I'm really into it, or I'm quite keen on it.
Keen on. That's a very British English feel, isn't it? I'm keen on gardening. It just means you like it.
It does. Now, Dan, let's talk about the grammar for a second. Don't worry, listeners, we'll keep it simple. When we use verbs like, love, or enjoy, what comes next?
Oh, right. Usually we use the gerund, which is just the verb plus ing. So I enjoy reading, not I enjoy read. Or I love hiking.
Perfect. I love hiking because it's so relaxing. Relaxing is an adjective we use for things that make us feel calm and peaceful.
Like sitting here with this tea. This is very relaxing.
It is. But some people prefer high energy hobbies like sports or dancing.
True. I actually tried to shoot some hoops last weekend with my nephew.
Shoot some hoops. That sounds so cool.
It just means to play a game of basketball. It's a very casual way to say it. In the UK, if you were playing soccer, or football as we say, you might call it a kick around. We're going for a kick around in the park.
I love how many ways there are to say these things. It makes the language so much more colorful.
It really does. But before we get too deep into the sports, let's talk about those quiet hobbies too, like reading. Anna, you're a big reader, aren't you?
Ugh, I adore reading. Adore is even stronger than love. I can spend hours in a bookstore just window shopping for new titles.
Window shopping. Wait, you're not actually buying the windows, are you?
No, Dan. Window shopping means you're just looking at the things in the store windows or browsing without actually buying anything. It's a great way to have fun without spending money.
I do that at the tech store all the time. I just stare at the new laptops and sigh.
We all do, Dan. We all do. Dan, we were just talking about window shopping and reading, which are great examples of what we call solo activities.
Solo, right. That just means you do them by yourself, alone. I actually really value my solo time. It's when I can truly unwind.
Oh, unwind is a lovely word. For our listeners, to unwind means to relax or de-stress, especially after a long, busy day at work. For me, hiking is very relaxing and it helps me unwind because the air is so fresh in the mountains.
That sounds much more peaceful than my attempts at pottery. But as much as I love my quiet time, sometimes I need to be social.
Social, another key word. If a hobby is social, it involves other people, like your friends or family. For example, playing football is a very social hobby because you're part of a team.
Exactly. Or even just hanging out at the mall.
Wait, Dan, let's stop there. Hanging out. That's a phrasal verb we use all the time in English, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. To hang out simply means to relax and spend time with someone in a casual way. You don't have to be doing anything special, you're just enjoying each other's company. You might hang out at a friend's house or hang out at a park to catch some rays.
Catch some rays. That sounds so summery.
It is. To catch some rays means to get outside and enjoy the sunshine. Some people love to sunbathe at the beach to get a suntan, but you have to be careful and use sunscreen so you don't get sunburnt.
Very true. Now, Dan, when we talk about these activities, we often want to know how often someone does them. We use words for frequency.
Right, like weekly, monthly, or regularly. Weekly means every week, and monthly means, well, once a month.
And regularly means you do it often, usually as part of a routine. For instance, I go to choir practice weekly, every Monday.
A choir, that's when a group of people sing together, right?
Yes, and I love it because I can put my phone away and just sing with my friends. It's a very social and fulfilling activity. But what about you, Dan? Do you exercise regularly?
I try to. I like running, but I struggle to do it regularly. It's so easy to lose your routine once you stop for a few days. Honestly, lately my running has been more monthly.
Well, at least you're being honest. Now, we've talked a lot about things we like, but in a real conversation, we also talk about things we, well, can't stand.
Can't stand. That's a strong one. It means you really, really dislike something, or you even hate it. For example, I can't stand being stuck in a traffic jam. It drives me crazy.
Me too. And some people might say, I'm not keen on watching soap operas, or I detest Mondays. Detest and loathe are very strong words for things you really don't like doing.
I'm definitely not keen on extreme sports. I prefer to keep it low-key.
Keep it low-key, that's a great expression for a quiet, relaxing night. It's the opposite of going out to paint the town red.
Oh, I love that one. To paint the town red means to go out and have a very exciting, fun-filled night, maybe staying out for the whole night, which we call pulling an all-nighter.
I think I'm a bit too old for all-nighters now, Dan. My idea of a perfect Friday is to catch a flick and then chow down at a local joint.
Catch a flick, that just means to see a movie, right? And a joint, that sounds a bit, informal?
It is. A joint is just a casual word for a place to eat, like a burger joint or a pizza joint. And chow down is just a fun, casual way to say eat.
Let's go chow down at that new taco joint. See, I'm getting the hang of this.
You really are. But before we move on, I want to mention one more thing. When you're talking to someone new, it's not just about sharing your hobbies. You have to be curious about them too.
That's a great point. If you only talk about yourself, it feels like an interrogation. You should ask open-ended questions, questions that need more than just a yes or no answer.
Exactly. Instead of asking, do you have a hobby, which is a bit stiff, you could ask, what do you do for fun? Or what's your favorite way to unwind after work?
Or even, are you into any sports? If you stay curious, you'll find common ground, and that's how you build a real connection.
I couldn't agree more. It's all about that give and take in a conversation.
Well, I'm into taking another sip of my coffee right now.
Good idea. Let's take a quick breather. We're back. And Dan, I've been thinking, you mentioned your pottery disaster earlier, but I remember you telling me once that you tried to learn a musical instrument. Was that any better?
Thanks for bringing that up, Anna. Honestly, it was another disaster. For our friends listening, a disaster is just a way to say something went very, very wrong. I tried to learn the guitar a few years ago. I thought I'd be like a rock star, but my fingers, they just hurt so much. I couldn't get the hang of it.
Oh, I know what you mean. The strings can be really tough on your fingers when you're a beginner. But did you have a teacher or did you try to learn on your own?
Actually, a friend of mine got me into it.
Got me into. That is a perfect phrase. Can you explain that one?
Definitely. If someone gets you into something, it means they introduced you to the activity and encouraged you to start doing it. Like, my brother got me into video games, or my friend got me into hiking. It's a very natural way to explain how you started a hobby.
I love that. For me, my dad got me into photography when I was quite young. He gave me an old camera, and at first, the photos were terrible. They were all blurry, which means they weren't clear or too dark. But I kept practicing.
See, that's the difference between us. You practiced. I just quit because my fingers hurt. But you're right. Hobbies often take time. You can't be perfect on day one.
Exactly. And now I'd say I'm an avid photographer.
Ooh, avid. That's a fancy word.
It is a bit advanced, isn't it? If you are an avid hiker or an avid reader, it means you do that activity very often and with a lot of enthusiasm. You really, really love it. I spend every chance I get taking photos of, well, mostly my coffee.
Haha, I've seen your social media, Anna. You really do have a million photos of lattes and espressos. But hey, if it makes you happy, that's what matters. That's the whole point of a hobby, right? To find something fulfilling.
Yes, fulfilling. That's an adjective we use for something that makes us feel happy and satisfied because we're doing something meaningful or developing a skill. For some people, that's volunteering. For others, it's building something with their hands, like woodworking or building models.
Oh, I actually have a friend, Thomas, who is really into woodworking. He builds shelves and even birdhouses for his garden. He says it's very rewarding to see the finished project. Rewarding is similar to fulfilling. It means you feel proud of what you achieved.
I can imagine. I tried building a model airplane once. You know, those little plastic kits where you have to use glue.
Oh, I know the ones.
It was a sticky mess, Dan. I used way too much glue. I think I accidentally glued my thumb to the wing. It takes so much patience.
Haha, yeah, patience is key. If a hobby requires patience, it means you have to be able to stay calm and wait for results without getting frustrated. I think that's why I prefer reading. It's a low-key way to pass the time.
Pass the time. That's another good way to talk about hobbies. It just means to do something so you aren't bored. What kind of books are you reading lately?
I've actually been getting into mystery novels. I love a good story with a secret or a problem to solve. It's challenging for my brain, but in a fun way.
Challenging. That's a great word to use when a hobby isn't exactly easy, but you enjoy the effort you have to put in. Some people find learning a language challenging, but so rewarding when they can finally have a conversation.
Exactly, like our listeners right now. They're taking up the challenge of learning English.
They really are. And speaking of challenges, I've been thinking about trying something totally new. I'm thinking of taking up rock climbing.
Rock climbing? Wow, Anna, that sounds a bit intense.
Maybe, but I've heard it's a great way to stay active and meet new people. Plus, the views from the top are supposed to be stunning.
Stunning, that's a great word for very beautiful. Well, if you do go, let me know. I might join you. Or I might just stay at the bottom and catch some rays while I wait for you to finish.
Fair enough. You can be the official photographer for the day.
Deal. But only if there's a good pizza joint nearby for afterwards. I'll be ready to chow down.
You've always got food on your mind, Dan. But you're right. Sharing a meal after a hobby is a great way to be social.
It really is. It turns a solo activity into a social one. You go for a hike alone to unwind, then you meet your friends for a burger and talk about the trail. It's the best of both worlds.
It really is. It's all about finding that balance.
Well, speaking of balance, I think I need to balance this coffee with a little snack.
Go ahead, Dan. Dan, did you get that snack you were dreaming about?
I did. I went for some munchies. For our listeners, munchies is a very casual word for snacks. You know, things like popcorn, chips, or crackers that you eat between meals. It's actually a great word to use when you're planning a trip. You might say, let's grab some munchies and hit the road.
Oh, hit the road. I love that. That just means to start a journey or leave for a trip, right?
Exactly. Okay, everyone is in the car, we've got the snacks, let's hit the road. It sounds much more exciting than just saying, let's leave.
It really does. Now, speaking of the office environment, I was reading earlier about how hobbies aren't just for home. Sometimes talking about what you do when you're not working is the best way to make friends at the office.
That's so true. In fact, I remember hearing a conversation between two colleagues. I think their names were Amir and Paul, and they discovered they both did meditation.
Meditation? That's becoming a very popular way to unwind these days. If you meditate, you spend time in quiet thought to relax your mind.
Right, and Amir asked a perfect question. How often do you practice?
That's a key phrase for our listeners to learn. How often do you activity? It's how we find out if someone does their hobby regularly, weekly, or monthly. Paul mentioned that he normally meditates once or twice a week, but sometimes it's hard to find time when things get busy.
I think we can all relate to that. It's always hard to find time for the things we love when work gets intense. But Anna, not all hobbies have to be productive. Have you ever heard of anyone having a guilty pleasure?
Oh, definitely. A guilty pleasure is something you enjoy, even though it might be, well, a little bit embarrassing or not very cool, like watching cheesy reality TV shows.
My guilty pleasure is definitely online shopping for things I don't need. I can spend hours looking at unique gadgets. I'm not an expert, but I really enjoy seeing what's out there.
We all have those. It's what makes us human. Speaking of different things, I once heard about a man named Neil who liked making sauerkraut in his free time.
Sauerkraut? You mean the fermented cabbage?
Yes, he said it was relaxing and satisfying because it's an old-fashioned process that takes a lot of time. It's the opposite of our fast-paced world.
I guess that's a solo hobby that requires a lot of patience. It's like those people who collect things. To collect means to find and keep a group of similar objects like stamps, coins, or even spoons.
I have a friend who collects postcards from every city she visits. She says they are valuable to her because of the memories, even if they aren't worth a lot of money.
That's lovely. You know, Anna, when we talk about these interests, we often use the word passion. If you have a passion for something, it's a very strong feeling of enthusiasm. I've noticed that people who pursue their hobbies with passion often seem much happier.
Pursue a hobby. That's a bit more formal, isn't it?
It is. You might hear it in a job interview or a professional setting. In my spare time, I pursue my interests in historical research. It sounds very serious and dedicated.
It does. But for our everyday conversations, we can just stick to I'm really into or I've been getting into. For example, I've been getting into gardening recently.
And if you want to sound even more natural, you can talk about your goals. Like, my goal is to learn 3 new songs on the guitar every month. It shows you are active and trying to improve.
I think that's a great tip. Setting a goal makes the hobby feel like a journey. But Dan, what about when you're just, well, tired?
Oh, then my only hobby is catching up on some sleep.
Catching up on sleep is a great phrase for when you haven't slept enough during the week and you use the weekend to rest.
Exactly. There's nothing like a good night's sleep to make you feel like a new person.
I totally agree. But before we get too sleepy, we should mention that hobbies are also a way to connect with people. You can find common ground by asking, what do you do when you're not working?
Or if you're feeling social, you can even invite someone to join you. Like, I'm going for a stroll in the park this weekend. Would you like to come along? A stroll is just a slow, relaxed walk for pleasure.
That's a perfect way to turn a solo interest into a social one.
It really is, and it's much better than just sitting at home and doodling in a notebook. Although doodling can be fun too.
Doodling, that's when you draw small, simple pictures when you're bored or thinking, right?
Exactly. It's a very low-key creative hobby.
Well, we've covered so many different ways to talk about our time, from sauerkraut to meditation. There really is something for everyone.
There is, and the best part is you don't have to be an expert to enjoy it. You can just be a beginner and have a blast.
Have a blast. That's a fun idiom. It just means to have a great time.
It certainly does, and I'm definitely having a blast talking about this with you, Anna.
Me too, Dan. Me too.
You know, Anna, we've talked a lot today about hanging out at the mall and catching some rays at the beach. But what if you're in a situation that's a bit more serious, like a job interview?
That is such a great question, Dan. People often think they should only talk about work in an interview, but actually, 90% of interviews start with the question, tell me about yourself. It's a chance to show your personality and your communication skills.
Right. And while the interviewer doesn't want to hear about your entire life story, adding a short, personal sentence about your hobbies can make you seem more human.
Exactly. One expert tip from the sources is to use a simple formula, past plus present plus future. You talk about your background, what you do now, and why the job excites you for the future.
Oh, I like that. So if I were applying for a teaching job, I might mention how I taught my kids at home. Or if I were applying for an office job, I could mention that I pursue an interest in historical research. Pursue is that formal word we mentioned earlier, remember?
I do. It sounds very dedicated. And you can even link your hobby to a strength. For example, you could say, I enjoy woodworking because it taught me patience and how hard work brings results.
Patience. Yeah, I definitely needed that with the model airplane disaster. But that's a great point. It shows the interviewer that you have valuable skills that aren't just technical.
Precisely. But remember, listeners, keep it brief. Aim for 1 to 2 minutes total for your introduction, and don't spend the whole time talking about your collection of seashells.
And here's my favorite shell from 1998. Yeah, maybe save that for the joint after work.
Well, we've covered so much ground today. We've talked about how to ask, what do you do for fun? And what are you into? We've learned that a cup of joe is just coffee, and munchies are the snacks you take when you hit the road.
We also talked about the difference between solo hobbies like reading mystery books and social hobbies like playing on a football team.
And don't forget the importance of using the gerund, that ing form, after verbs like, love, and enjoy.
Such a good reminder. I enjoy singing in a choir, or I love hiking because it's relaxing.
And we also practiced saying how often we do things, weekly, monthly, or regularly. Or maybe just once or twice a week if it's hard to find time.
It really has been a fulfilling conversation, hasn't it? I hope our listeners feel more confident about sharing their own passions now.
I think they will. And hey, if you're a beginner, that's totally okay. Everyone starts somewhere. The most important thing is to have fun and have a blast.
Exactly. So before we go, we have our favorite part of the show, the question of the day.
Yes, we want to hear from you. What is one hobby you have right now? Or what is one new hobby you would like to take up in the future?
Please leave your answer in the comments. We read every single one, and it's a wonderful, safe place for you to practice your English sentences.
Don't worry about making mistakes, just try. And if you found this episode helpful, make sure to click that subscribe button and give us a like. It really helps our channel grow so we can keep making these lessons for you.
You can also visit our website for transcripts and extra practice worksheets to help you polish your skills.
Well, I think it's time for me to go catch a flick, or maybe just a nap.
Enjoy your rest, Dan, and to all our listeners, thank you so much for joining us for English Over Tea.
Keep practicing, stay curious, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye for now.
Goodbye.